Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a bit. Main reason I'm lazier than a quadriplegic, but today I kind of just want to do a different style of video than I usually do. I wasn't intending on making this, but I kind of just wanted to because I've kind of had it in the back of my head for a long time. So I said, you know what? I think why not? Why not? I haven't uploaded in eons, but you know, you probably read the title. You know, you're probably like, oh great, another video talking about how bad modern gaming has gotten. And you know what? Yeah, it is. Most likely, I'm gonna regurgitate the exact same nonsense you have heard from tons and tons of other videos. You know, people saying that this gaming hasn't been this bad since they put Nicki Minaj in Call of Duty.
Come on! Open your eyes!
But you know what? I don't care, because I think people should express their dissatisfaction to how gaming has gotten, because it has just completely nosedived harder than anything I have ever seen in my entire life. Now, I'm not going to have just a super pessimistic outlook on life and say gaming is just total dog shit, we need to just burn it to the ground and wipe the slate clean, because that's not true. There have been good games in the past few years that have come out and have been jaw-droppingly amazing. For me, that's Elden Ring and Helldivers 2. But there's also games that I haven't played that I've heard incredible things about. Things like Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You know, Alan Wake 2 and Baldur's Gate 3 may not really have my interest, but it's great to know that there's good games out there for people who want those kinds of games. But on the opposite end, I swear for every good release, there's at least 10 bad releases that are so notoriously horrendous that either the game launches and it's so fucking unplayable that everyone leaves, or it is just fundamentally a bad game. Halo, Suicide Squad, Call of Duty, Cyberpunk, Warhammer 3, Fallout 76, Payday 3, Star Wars The Battlefront Collection, games that have either launched horribly and maybe recovered, or have flat out failed. I bought Dragon's Dogma 2 on my PC, and I was so excited. I love Dragon's Dogma 1. It is one of the greatest games that I have ever played. Do you know how many hours I've put into Dragon's Dogma 2? 7. I have put 7 hours into that game because the performance was so fucking dog shit. And I'm not the person who's like, oh, if it's not 60, I can't play it. I'm perfectly fine with playing a game that doesn't run at a constant 60, as long as performance is consistent. Starfield may have problems, but at least the performance overall was consistently 30s to 40s. And I'm fine with that, because it was still a playable experience. The games industry now has the, oh, we'll fix it later mentality. You know, it's a live service. You gotta give us some time, guys. If I go out and buy a car, I do not want the engine tomorrow. I do not want the day after. I want the engine the day I buy the car. You know why? Because I can't do anything with the fucking car if it doesn't have an engine. The same way I can't do anything with a game if there's no fucking game inside of it.
But what does that have to do with anything?
No. He's got a point.
And somehow, people will find ways to meat ride the fuck out of these companies. Like they are the deep, and the company is the fucking octopus. It makes no sense to me. These companies do not see you as a human being. They see you as a fucking walking dollar sign. They do not care about you as a person, what you're going through, whatever you support, whether it be the fucking left, the right, LGBTQ, BLM. They don't give a fuck. They just see you as an idiot willing to buy their product because maybe they put a gay person in it, or a black girl, or whatever. And that's not saying that, oh, we should just fucking take out, you know, Hispanic people, Asian people, or trans people from our games. No. You want to put them in the game, put them in the game. Just write them as an actual character. Because I swear to God, there has been more times that they have put people of some group, whether it be LGBTQ or whatever, in the game, and they are written so terribly bad that makes them just almost like a throwaway character, or just almost like they shouldn't even been there. Like they were just written in, they were just shoehorned in with no actual thought. You know, the whole writing thing, it kind of just is like all over. It's not even just games, it's just all media in general, where people do not know how to just, I guess they just forgot how to write, because no one in their right mind heard, I have a talking bracelet and there's freaking dragons from Forspoken and said, that line goes hard as fuck.
I don't like it any more than you do, but we have to work together.
We've predicted a dialogue like 3 times now, so I'm waiting for him to say that.
See, you're stuck with me, and I with you.
God damn it! How does that keep happening?
Why?
It's happened like 5 times now!
Because whatever glue that they are huffing to think that is awesome, I want some. Now. It is almost like the people who write these games don't even know what humans are, even though they are one. Maybe they aren't. Maybe they're lizard people. I don't know. And I 100% expect when AI starts being forced into game development, that it is just going to go down the shitter so hard. It will be atrocious. And let's just say when that happens, I will dedicate my life to building a time machine to just stop it before it even happens. I will just become the Terminator. I think that's just what I'm going to do. You know, I grew up playing the Xbox 360, right? That was my childhood, just like it probably was for a lot of other people. And it actually saddens me to think kids nowadays, instead of playing MW3 2011, which had an amazing campaign, an amazing multiplayer, an amazing Spec Ops, just overall was a great game. Even though a lot of people don't look too fondly on it, I do. I think it's really good. They're playing a Modern Warfare 3 2023, which has probably the worst campaign, hands down, one of the worst zombies, because the worst goes to Vanguard, 100%, and a multiplayer with such strict SBMM that it pretty much removes any sense of community or fun that you could have in those old COD lobbies. Not to mention the microtransactions that cost a third of the actual game, maybe even more. And just the idea that these kids will look back at this game and just being like, oh, that game was amazing. You know, I've never played anything better. When there is something better, they haven't experienced old COD and just how good it used to be. It is actually horrible to think about. I think the last thing I want to talk about is microtransactions, which in my opinion isn't even the right word for it. It should be macro transactions, because there's nothing small about what you're buying nowadays. Plain and simple. You know, if a skin or an item in a game exceeds, in my opinion, $5, it's no longer small. I'd even be as liberal to say $10 could be considered small, depending on what you get in that bundle. But that's just not how it is. You have things going for $20, $30. Hell, you have Valorant, which in my opinion is the biggest fucking scam to my knowledge.
Here, hold 'em beer. Now we see who swing the fastest gun.
Of overpriced bundles, where they can go for $100 for weapon skins. Not like you could spend you know what you could spend $100 on? Fucking groceries. It makes CSGO gambling look like a safer option and a better way to get your money's worth. I know for a fact game companies look at Riot and are just jealous because they know they have such a fucking retarded fan base that are willing to spend so much money on just weapon skin bundles. And it's not that I understand free games need to make money somehow, you know. They can't be free without some sort of fucking microtransactions. But Jesus Christ, is this really the only way? I've seen games like Warframe and Path of Exiles who sell nothing but cosmetics. Warframe, yeah, it does sell some. You can buy weapons and stuff. I get that, but if you actually just play, because I've played Warframe, if you actually just play the game, no matter how grindy it is, you can get anything you want in it for free. It's just like, how is this acceptable? How have we gone from Oblivion Horse Armor being outrageous to having shit like this in our games that's considered fine? Because if this is fine, I'll just take a fucking plane ride all the way to go fuck myself, Phil. How far we have fallen. You know, I'm not gonna ask the rhetorical question, oh, why are games like this nowadays? Everyone knows why. Everyone knows why games are like this nowadays. Corporatization of the gaming industry, that's why. Some dumbass bigwigs saw that the game industry makes more money than any media combined and said, oh, I want some of that. I want a piece of that pie, without knowing what actually makes games good and successful. So that's why you see 30,000 fucking hero shooters or battle royales or anything that's popular. Because executives see this thing popular and then force game studios to make these kinds of games, even if the game studio doesn't even know how to or what makes them popular, because they do other stuff. And that's how we got games like Anthem and Redfall. It kind of sounds like a joke to think about, but I genuinely do think the only way for gamers to actually get games that are actually functional is to start like an actual movement. You know, we can't just have a group of gamers who like this one game and say, hey, can you stop doing that, and have the gaming industry change overnight, because tons of other games are going to do the exact same thing. We would need like an actual workers' union of gamers to change the industry, because the way that companies are just able to false advertise, promote gambling, or just completely take away products that we have bought is completely unfair. And you know that if this shit ever happened to them, they would be up in fucking arms. But you know what? It's okay, you know, because we're not people to them, you know? That's fine. No, actually, I think it's fair now. Thinking about it like that, thinking about us as not people, I actually think it's fair. You know, luckily, we do have a thriving indie game scene, which is actually, it's incredible to see, because, you know, these are the only people who are willing to make games good. You know, they put out, you know, unique games that, you know, you don't really see, or they fill in a void which the AAA landscape hasn't touched in eons. You know, you had like Power World, for instance, that came out a bit ago, which just completely showed what a Pokemon game could be, because it completely did it better than the actual studio, because no one has tried to rival Pokemon in ages. They pretty much had a fucking monopoly on it. And then Power World comes in and just shows, no, you can't actually have a better Pokemon game. But, you know, while I love indie games, you know, you don't see a lot of indie games work in a larger scale. They're mostly, you know, more smaller games, which it makes sense. Games cost a lot of money to make. So, you know, if you do a larger ambitious project, it could be very life-ruining if the project fails. there's things like early access, but you're not going to get a huge amount of the market in on early access because they're not going to think the game is complete, which, kind of makes where gaming is suck, because you have these people who are supposed to make these bigger projects, these AAA studios that are, making these expansive worlds, and yet they somehow feel smaller than indie games when you really get down to the nitty gritty. I don't want to see games disappear, and I don't think games will disappear anytime soon. But I'm noticing just a pattern in AAA gaming where it's you have a studio make a project, whether it's something they do want to make or it's something that they're being forced to make, just be pumped with so much money, like millions upon millions of dollars, probably going to the hundreds of millions of dollars range, being pumped with that much kind of cash, and then see the game fail. And it doesn't matter if the studio is actually good, like if they've put out products that have been good, having them just be like, oh, this one project is just the fucking death sentence. Like we can't have that. We can't just have just one game decide the fate of a company. It's unsustainable. You're gonna have so many companies that are gonna keep putting out products, and then one flop hits, they're gone. Get them out of there. I don't want to see them. What, you just gonna get a new studio and do the fucking same ring around the rosy? It cannot be sustainable at all. There's no way. It will crumble the entire industry. Well, that's it. That's all I wanted to say on the matter for right now. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I know it's kind of a different video, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this. And don't forget to leave a like, sub, and bye.
A lonely electron with nothing to do. Pairs up with the neutron for a cocktail or two. Atomic kisses survived by a few. They had a nuclear blast. Said the electron to the